buried secrets don't always stay that way. What starts as a routine renovation takes a dark turn when a crew uncovers something that turns the site into a crime scene.
It's the summer of 1989. A construction crew is renovating the basement of a 150-year-old building in downtown Augusta. When one worker drives his shovel into the dirt floor, it hits something hard.
He reaches down and he pulls out a gigantic bone. The initial thought is that it's maybe from a cow, but the crew can't be 100% sure, so they call the authorities.
When officers arrive, they take one look at the bone and ask the crew to keep digging. And as they do, more bones surface. Parts of a leg, a fragment of a pelvis.
They put the leg bones into the sockets of the pelvis, and it's a perfect fit. It's not a cow, it's a person.
To help identify the remains, police call in forensic anthropologist Dr. Russell Moores.
For the next week, Dr. Moores and a team of forensic anthropology students carefully excavate the basement. They tag and catalog every fragment.
In the end, they uncover 10,000 human bone fragments belonging to at least 250 individuals.
Dr. Moores realizes a very chilling detail. These bones haven't been accidentally broken or shattered over time. They've been carefully and methodically cut.
This precision leads investigators to a very specific possibility, one rooted in the building's past.
This building used to be part of the Medical College of Georgia. So the bones, they're the remains of cadavers used in early medical education.
Back then, dissecting human bodies was illegal, leaving medical schools desperate for a secret supply.
The school's 7 professors put their heads together to create a workaround. They pooled $700 together and purchased an enslaved man by the name of Grandison Harris.
Officially, Harris was hired as a janitor, but in reality, he was a resurrectionist, which is to say that he was forced to rob graves, providing cadavers for the medical school.
Harris mostly worked at night, and most of the bodies were buried in plain pine caskets, which were easy to breach with a simple axe or pickaxe.
After students finished their dissections, the remains were tossed into the basement, where Harris would unceremoniously bury them again.
When the Civil War ended in 1865, Grandison Harris was freed, and he used his reading and writing skills to serve as a judge. But during the rise of Jim Crow, the racist backlash forced him back into grave robbing, and he continued at it until he retired in 1905.
Harris dies in 1911, and in a final twist is buried in Cedar Grove, the same cemetery he once plundered.
In 1998, the bones that were discovered in the college basement were returned to Cedar Grove Cemetery, placed under a stone marker with a very simple inscription: known but to God.
Next, an even older secret unearthed. It's sealed in stone for thousands of years, waiting to be uncovered.
In July of 2018, a construction crew breaks ground on a new apartment building in Alexandria, Egypt. The site is crammed into one of the city's oldest neighborhoods, so space is tight, to say the least, as the crew digs to lay the foundation.
When they get about 16 feet down, the crew's equipment hits something solid, and it won't budge.
For help, they call in archaeologist Mustafa Waziri to investigate.
Waziri and his team begin carefully clearing all the soil by hand, and what emerges from the earth is jet black granite. It's smooth, and the more soil they remove, the bigger the granite seems.
Eventually, they clear away a massive, heavy box. It's 9 feet long, 5 feet wide, and it's about 6 feet deep. And it's sealed shut.
Waziri knows immediately what he's looking at. It's an ancient Egyptian sarcophagus, carved from solid granite, and he estimates it weighs over 30 tons.
It's also the largest sarcophagus ever found in Alexandria.
To put this thing into perspective, the most famous sarcophagus ever found is that of King Tut. That was 3 coffins together, one nested inside the other, and it weighed 1 ton. So the sheer size of this sarcophagus means whoever this person was must have been a person of immense power and status.
Even more incredible, it's still sealed with its original mortar, never plundered by grave robbers. It's a 1 in a million find.
Waziri and his team get into the position of lifting this massive lid for the very first time. And as they jar it a little bit aside, all of a sudden they're hit with this overwhelming stench.
Inside the sarcophagus is a murky reddish-brown liquid and an absolutely suffocating odor. They keep it open for about an hour, hoping the worst of the stench will clear out.
Eventually, they brace themselves and begin to carefully drain the fluid. Soon, the outline of a body starts to take shape. It's a mummy.
As they remove more liquid, they see another mummy, and then a third. As amazing as it is to find one mummy, here they found 3 in a single tomb.
To figure out who they're looking at, the team scans the area around the sarcophagus for clues.
Nearby, they find an alabaster bust of a man and 3 thin sheets of gold etched with symbolic images of snakes, stalks of grain, and opium poppies.
These were all revered motifs from Greco-Roman Egypt. Combined with the craftsmanship of the sarcophagus, Waziri is able to date the burial to the Ptolemaic era of Egypt, so sometime between 323 and 30 BC.
The mummies are then sent to the Alexandria National Museum for further study.
The CT scans show one of the mummies is of a male who died in his 40s, another one is a male who died in his 30s, and the third one is actually a mummy of a woman, and she died in her 20s sometime. And all 3 of them had obviously been tremendously important people because they were buried with a great deal of wealth and ceremony around them.
They haven't determined yet exactly who these people were, but they did figure out the origin of that reddish-brown nasty liquid, sewage.
It turns out there was a leak in a nearby sewer that at some point seeped into the tomb and filled it with waste. So whoever these 3 elite individuals were, they probably never imagined spending the afterlife soaking in filth.